くぞ。
What's up, everybody? This is Forgo, and today we're going to have a little fun with Dellons and Guild Raid because I was really curious to see how well this guy can do, especially before this collab runs out. We only have 6 days left of it, so I just wanted to show you all what this guy's capable of. Now, I was able to hit 211 million. There's people out there getting way more, 500 million plus, using Dellons on a team. My team, I'm using The Rock, Dellons, and Guinness, but actually, if you use Orochi Iori in the leadership, it actually would be better because Iori just has a better leadership. If we jump in here, you can see The Rock here. He does have this increase all fighter by 20% and active skill damage by 30%. The problem with The Rock is he doesn't have any PG rate in his core, and for this to really work, you really need PG rate to build up the 3 PGs extremely quick. And that's another reason that Iori actually will work better. The reason I'm using The Rock is because, one, he's level 50, and I got max imprint stones on him, whereas my Iori is just level 40. And if we scroll down Iori, where is he? My Iori is just level 40, but see, he gives this extra increase by 60%. That's a better leadership than The Rock, and I don't have any imprint stones on this guy at all, but his PG rate is wonderful. 30% PG rate. He doesn't need anything. So I'm going to show you on my Rock build that I am running the Tekken set to help build a little bit PG rate, but you don't need it. If you use Iori instead of The Rock, you'll be much better off. I'm also using this option card to build up PG, gains power by 2.5% upon landing an active skill. This is very, very important, especially for this character. You're going to see this on all these characters. If you don't have this card, then, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. If you don't have this card, then maybe you'd want to use like maybe some other PG rate cards like Terry's card here that increases basic attack power charge by 3.2% when you're doing basic attacks. So you want to throw in a lot of basic attacks. I don't know how well that's going to work because you really want it on active skills. But also a card that we have right now, let's scroll down here and find it, wherever it's at. Let's see, where are you at, sucker? Where are you at, sucker? These cards right here, and you see I got some equipped on Guinness here. The obtain 2% power upon using active skills. So this is actually a very, very important card that you can get right now in the summons. But you see how I got him built? I got his 3 PG card completely maxed out. It doesn't matter about this one. If this was a level 30, it would be a little bit better. And I do have 2 of these imprint stones that offer bleed and attack. But I do have to have this PG rate stone because, again, The Rock just needs as much PG rate as you can give him, as much PG, so he can build up that 3 PG. And then for Dellons here, I have max castles. I have all max imprint stones. The beautiful thing about Dellon is he does have 20% PG rate in his core, which is freaking sweet, especially for this little method. And I am running the Leah set. The reason the Leah set's so nice because it might reactivate your skills. It might reproc your active skills. And if it does, you'll be able to rotate through your active skills again really quickly. And with this card here that increases PG upon landing active skills, that's very important. Plus we got the Yantama card here that offers the extra gain percent power by 2% on landing an active skill. So very, very important. We want lots of PG rate to build up our 3 PG or default as fast as we can. In Dylan's case, you see that my 3 PG is only at level 1. The reason is we're never going to need it. We're only going to be using Dylan's default finisher. And the reason we're just going to use this default finisher is because it applies blackout for 4 seconds to target upon landing a skill, deals darkness damage equal to 30% of attack every 1 second. So when you do this skill, right after you can switch to Guinness and start pouring it on, and the blackness will already be applied, and you'll do lots of damage to hopefully break the meter of Rugal, which is dope. And you see I do have his Infinity level 10, so I do all this crit damage and everything. That's all maxed out. And then Guinness here is at level 40 as well. And he does have all max capsules. All these characters have max capsules. Guinness is just insane because you can cancel all the skills super, super fast. Very strong character. I do have all max imprint stones. Another reason he's so good for this, especially this method, is because he does also have the PG rate. But as you notice on his card set, I am running the Akane set. I do have his 3 PG card in the user sections, what I'm going to call it. And then we have the 2 PG cards as well. These things really do make a massive difference because the faster you can build up your PG, the better, especially for the way that we're going to be doing this. And I just want to, before I do this run, I want to give a big shout out to Dellons TV. Check out his channel. I'll put it up on the screen right now. He did a run where he was using Orochi Iori, Dellon, and Guinness, and he was able to score over 500 million, which is absolutely insane. And that is where I got this method from. So I got to give the credit where it's due, and he definitely deserves it. Now, as far as the strikers, I'm going to be using blackout strikers. If my Dellon was completely maxed out, level 50, it would be a different story. If my Guinness was maxed out, it'd be a different story. I might not be using these blackout characters. I might be using just regular attack damage increase characters, but I need this extra blackout because I'm just not quite applying enough to take the meter down fast enough. You know, the stronger characters you have, the faster you'll take that meter down when the blackness is applied. So that's very, very important. Even at level 40, guys, even at these 2 characters level 40 with all this crazy CP that they have, even on expert mode, it still isn't quite enough, as you'll see. I'm using Rachel for Dellon because she does offer this increased power charge rate by 7%, which is very, very important when power is 2% or less. So he's getting the 20% PG rate from his core. He's getting the 7% when his power is 2 or less from Rachel from the link effect. And he's going to be getting PG rate from the cards. I tried doing this without the cards. And honestly, for Dellons and Guinness, it proved to be a bit difficult, but you could, if you wanted to. Now, I'm not saying this is the best choice, but you could, if you have the Rio sets, you could try using these Rio sets. And if you guys want me to do a run with that, I do have 2 of these sets. If you want to see me do a run with these, I can try to do that because this does obtain 2% power upon laying an active skill on 1 second cooldown. 50% chance of doing it, but you could put these cards on them if you don't have these cards like so here, because these are always available in the game, and you could try that. The more often you do your PGs, the better. Make sure they're maxed out. Like I said, I'm just going to be using Dellon's default, so this skill level 1 doesn't matter. I'm never going to use it. So let's jump into the action and let's rock and roll. So this might seem complicated, but it's actually fairly simple once you get this down. So the first thing you want to do is you want to start off with all 3 of your skills. So I brought in Lady Geese, Splice, and Blacken. Then we switched to Dellon. We're going to try to get that default. We built up our default. We're going to use the default, which is what you're watching right now. We're going to apply that Blacken. And then we're going to switch to Guinness. Boom. Switch to Guinness. And pow. We're going to build up our 3 PG. And now we're going to use that 3 PG. And a little tidbit is you always want to try to make sure you have like an extra bar of PG before you do your PG skill or afterwards. So again, we're building that up. And this is the thing that you're going to see over and over and over. We're going to repeat the same thing over and over and over. So we're going to do Rock's 3 PG. We're doing it right now. After we do it, we're going to run through Rock's skills to build up a little bit more PG. So we're going to try to build up a little bit more PG. We want to have a good bar. There's about 1.5 bars. So we switch to Dellons. We're going to get the default built up. We're going to use the default, apply the Blacken. Okay, so this really sucks. Rugal totally screwed us up. Alright, but luckily Dellon does apply Blacken from his other skills, but the default really is a whole lot better, and that's why having Blacken strikers really helps on Guinness and the Rock. Over and over, you'll see the same pattern. I mean, you're just going to be doing your PGs back and forth between Guinness and the Rock, Guinness and the Rock. Well, actually, between all 3 of them. But you have to make sure that you're using Dellon's default 3PG. Don't use its actual 3PG finisher because it doesn't apply Blacken. Use this one that you're watching right now. Apply the Blacken. We'll switch to Guinness. And boom. Here we go. And now we're going to bring in Chris, apply a little bit more Blacken because it wore off from Dellons. And see, and if my character was stronger, if Guinness was stronger, I would have been able to break that meter a whole lot faster. So this isn't an optimal run by any means. I definitely could do a lot more damage. But notice every time I use Guinness, I do his 3PG, and then I switch to the Rock and do his 3PG. As soon as Rugal gets stunned, that's what I do. And again, I got to give a big shout out to Dellons TV because if it wasn't for watching that video, I probably might not have figured this out. So thank you so much, buddy. Thank you for helping out the KOF community. So we're going to hit that default again. And I can't wait to build up these characters even more. And boom, now we're going to do our 3PG. We're going to do this, and then we're going to switch right back to the rock. It's just the same thing over and over. It looks complicated at first, but it really isn't. But again, the rock, I mean, Iori's just going to be better. The rock has better survivability because it decreases damage received. But Iori's just going to be better because you're going to get a better leadership. You'll have the PG rate. You won't need PG cards or anything like that. And when you're playing Iori, you just have to play very careful. Sometimes you only do 2 skills. Sometimes you'll do all 3 of your skills. It really depends on what Rugal's doing. And also, you just want to make sure you're using Iori after Genitz or whoever you're using breaks that meter. So here we got screwed, right? There we brought in Chris. And that's another reason having Blackened Strikers really, really helps. Sometimes you get in a situation where Rugal breaks you and then the Blackened isn't applied. So having a Blackened Striker really helps at times. Chris and Lady Geese proved to be very, very valuable for this. And even with this run, like honestly, it wasn't that good because I got interrupted quite a few times. And there were a few times where I had to waste time trying to take down that stupid meter because my characters just aren't quite strong enough. But when you apply this 3PG, this default here, and then you switch to the way my Guinness is built, you can break the meter pretty quick. Look at that. See how fast that thing broke? That's pretty nuts. That is pretty damn nuts. Dellons Blacken on his default is just insane, and that's why you're doing so much damage. But once that thing gets interrupted, like what you saw earlier, I just don't do near the damage, and I don't break the meter near as fast, and that really hurts me. And pow. Okay. Switch. And boom, we got interrupted again, which sucked. There's our default. Luckily, we didn't use our default, so that didn't get interrupted, and we didn't lose it. And we'll be able to apply the Blacken and switch to Genitz here. Oh, yeah. And like I said, you know, you're going to have little windows where you might be able to do a couple little basic attacks. Try to build up your PG a little bit. Make sure you have an extra bar of PG. And I might be able to do this even better. I'm probably going to practice this run a few more times because I really believe that I could do quite a bit better than this run. I actually think I could probably hit 250 to 300 million with these builds. Maybe more. I'm not really sure. But I didn't really have a whole lot of time to practice this or play this today, which kind of sucked. And boom. Over and over and over. Hell yeah, getting those rewards from Expert. And hopefully this will help some of you out. I do highly recommend that you check out Bandlegon TV's video. That was really, really sweet. All right. And we got interrupted, but that's okay. At least we didn't get interrupted during Dellon. That's what we don't want. And I used my Awaken skill, but didn't really need to. Boom. And pow! Switch rock. And this is a totally, it's much better because you're just stalling the time the whole time. You're just doing your finishers over and over and over and over. So you're stalling that time or something fierce. This is what's enabling you to be able to do so much more damage. And honestly, increase your survivability as well, because as long as you're doing your finishers, you're in an iframe, which is sweet. And Dellons' default is so cool. Pow. I was hoping I could do that 3PG, get in just a little bit more damage, but I didn't quite get it. So, you know, 211 million. Again, it wasn't the best run. You guys saw that there were quite a few times I got interrupted. There were times that it took me a while to take down that meter, which really sucked and really hurt my damage. But all in all, this isn't bad because I only have to do this twice, and I'll get the maximum reward. So hopefully this will help you all out. Try using Orochiori in the leadership and see how that works out for you. And let me know what characters you've gotten, what cards you've gotten, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one.